Welcome to the gallery. This is the Nature's Gifts exhibition of 2013 at the Art at Heart Gallery. This is a private tour just for Joyce and Dave. So we'll focus the Tasmanian watercolours and a couple of others. So have a chocolate and enjoy the show. So over here I've got some watercolours. There's a couple that are sort of like the Tasmanian watercolours, but really this is the area of the Island Wild series, which is inspired by Fraser Island. But there's a beautiful little watercolour up here of a tern in the nice black frame, and there's a beautiful set of oils in 3 panels of a welcome swallow, and that's 3 individual oil paintings. You can get up close and have a look. And I've got a painting called Feather Down. It's a watercolour, a large watercolour. It's an owl in pastel. And another beautiful little soft watercolour of a tern. And it's hard to see with this image, but there's all sorts of different subtle, soft colours in there. I fell in love with painting terns because the wingspans on them were amazing. They just make such beautiful shapes. And over on this wall, we've got the Island Wild series from Fraser Island. And around on the wall that you see when you first come in through the door, there's some more, especially little dingoes on the beach. So you might have seen a couple of these before. This one's a limited edition reproduction called Alfresco. That original was sold straight off the easel for about $6,000. So there's only reproductions left. This is an original that's still available of the Kookaburras. And there's 75 Mile Beach on Fraser Island. These are oil paintings. And over here, these are reproductions of the Island Wild series where the originals have been sold. This Under the Jetty one is an oil that is an original. It's one of the only ones that's still available in that series. And there's a reproduction of Joyce and Dave's beautiful Forest Heaven. And these are 2 original oils that are from Fraser Island. The Dotterels is a lovely little one. So then as we travel around to the other side of the gallery, there's the Birds of a Feather series. This is the only original that's left. It's called Flight Lesson. All the rest of the originals have sold, so these are reproductions on this wall. I just sold one today of this one called Lineage that's going across to Pennsylvania in USA. So then as you first come into the gallery, you can see through to the office, and there's a tiger painting up there and the set of terns in oil. We've got some limited edition reproductions of the pastel animals. That's the baby possum and the sugar glider. Now here we've got some Tasmanian watercolours. A couple of these you may have seen before. This one's called the Guardians. It's a bit hard in this light. That's probably the sort of colour tones that it is. It's probably a bit softer than that. But that's a very restful scene inspired by the Central Highlands. And then I've got a lovely little pair of smaller paintings. This one's called Sandscape. These are ones I painted after I went up the far north of Tasmania. And this one is called River Bend. These two would work really nicely together as a pair. Then this is a brand new one. There's quite a few new ones that have been sold already, so I'm sorry. This is one of the few that's remaining. A brand new one called Misty View. There's some nice shadows. And at the bottom I've got a couple of larger watercolours that are actually some of my best watercolours I've ever done, I think. Inspired by farming country where I grew up in South Australia. So this one is called River Gums, and this one is called Eucalypt Promenade with the sheep in the shade. Reminds me of where I grew up on the farm. There's some little cat paintings through here. There's a painting inspired by barley. And a sort of a semi-abstract one of a figure in 4 panels. Then if I turn right around the other way to the opposite wall, I've got my white framed artworks. This is a nice one that I wondered whether you might like to look at, called Warm Fields. It's an original oil. That reminds me of the farming country where I grew up too. In summer, when the grass is yellow. And there's another fun one that's kind of in the similar series to the previous ones you bought with the 24 karat gold leaf on it. This one is called Gold Rush, and this one has Eastern watercolour fish paintings that I've done on rice paper, with ink on rice paper, all buried into the paint, and there's also 24 karat gold and glass beads. So it's really got lovely texture. I wonder if I can get it to show some of the texture. And it's in a lovely minimalist white box frame. Then there's some other little fun oils on this wall as well. This one's called A Song of Orange. And this one's called Vase and Flowers. And we've got Dino, one of my little plush toys. I did a portrait of him. And this is little Gaia. It's an oil painting. And this is called Window Sun, with a cat sleeping in the windowsill in my art studio. And around the corner you can see the terns and the tiger. In the office where it all happens, there's Gaia up on the roof. And over here are the At Last painting with the tern reflected in the glass. And then we've got Eli Creek pastel from Fraser Island. And I'll show you some more when we go through to the next room.